Okay, well, this tutorial is to give an overview and organization of the template used to streamline our workflow. I use design options to organize the preloaded objects. But first, I want to go over the layout guides. There are some layout guides for both Newport Beach and Tahoe that go to their respective master layouts when you open the file. Get back there. Yeah, and these guides are here. They're a group. One is set up at 1/4 inch scale. Another is set up at 1/8 inch scale. And again, feel free to adjust the lines and hotspots as you need for your particular project, but it's essentially here just to assist setting up your initial plan. The example here that I have is just kind of a typical Newport Beach lot of like 30 feet wide by roughly 150 feet long. And you can kind of see how that fits in the guide here in this lower portion. The Tahoe projects tend to be more square, so they have a bigger area here. And I've reserved areas for sheet notes, keynotes, and graphic legends off to the side, where the sheet notes, keynotes, and graphic legend live above the plan on the Newport guidelines. So once you decide what scale you want to use, what kind of project it is, feel free to go ahead and delete the other ones. One of the other things I'd like to do is I place my main grid intersection on the drawing origin. That's that black X that's in ArchiCAD that you can't get rid of. And I do that because it makes it easy to place all of the plans in a similar location. So when I go to put them on a layout, like let's look at the first floor plan, for example. If I zoom here, I've got this figured out where I want to put it. Then I go into my master layout and I put a hotspot in that location, as you can see there. And the reason I do that is because then when I go back to place all the rest of my plans, like there's my first floor plan, roof plan, RCP, and the like, they all come in at the exact same spot, so that just makes it easy. All right, so that's kind of one best practice I just wanted to share. So going back and starting off, I want to take a look at the legends that are down here. Now, I use the design options here to organize this information. There's two options, legends and staged views. We'll talk about legends first. The point of legends here is to contain all the preloaded objects. So it hosts all the starting content for a project. And it's on a design option here because I've filtered all the schedules to eliminate anything that is not in the main model. So anything that lives here will not show up in a schedule. But you can use it to drag and copy, put it into your project, and then link it to the main model when you're ready. Now let's go talk about the staged views. So staged views is just the initial elevations, sections, and some wall sections that I laid out. I put them on the staged views because mainly just so that they're kind of out of the way as you're initially setting up your project. So they just kind of, they're mainly just there for reference. But they do already live in the project map. You can see the sections here, the wall sections are these four, and the elevations are here. So there are drawings. I've just put it on this view here to hide the cuts. And I think so. Once you're ready to make the cut live, essentially you just come highlight it, click on main model, and then click relink, and then that'll have it show up in the floor plans. So you can see now that I put that in there, now that one's live. Okay, so so when you're ready, just take it from stage views and put it in the main model. So I'm going to put this back into stage views. All right, one other thing I wanted to show about the wall sections is that, here we go back to the starting view, stage views, is I had made, right now they're set up to be 8 feet long. And the reason why I made them 8 feet is that if I go to my wall section sheet, that allows me to get 4 wall sections on one layout drawing. So that's why I kind of started out as 8 feet. So if you can get it to work there, that's kind of designed to work with and to get 4 wall sections on one sheet. Okay, so if we want to go back to starting view, I'm just going to go and start kind of just to give an overview of what's included in this Legends design option. So I've got our font standards. I'm using Gill Sans throughout, and you can kind of see I've listed out the different types of text and what the styling is for those texts here. Those are also saved in favorites, but we'll go over favorites in another video. This is just an overview. So I also want to show, like on the floor plan, plan status, the favorites here. So there's an architectural legend. And as you'll see around these boxes too, there's like lots of legends. There's one for your site plan, electrical, lighting, and the like. And the purpose of this area and why it's boxed out is because that legend is intended to live on a layout. So let's pull this up so you can kind of see. So that legend is pulling through here. So I've formatted it to kind of fit in this window. And if we go through like to the Newport staged master layout, there's the area for the graphic legend that's reserved there. There's an area for keynotes and an area for sheet notes. The same on the Tahoe, since again the plans are more rectangular, it's able to organize all that information vertically next to the title block. Now let's go back to that view. So if you always want to get back to this view, up in this resources folder, you can just double click this starting view. But I've also, to make it easier to find each individual legend, in the 8.8 folder, I basically laid out, made a view of each one of these views. So you can just kind of click on it and it'll zoom right to it. So basically what I've set up is, apart from the legend, there's just some favorites that you can either use the eyedropper and syringe to go over. There's some annotations, again, that is basically just kind of like just general stuff that you may want to copy and paste. And then I've got 2 detailing rigs down here. One is a wall section, and using this to kind of create some details. And also here I've got one for basically a floor, slab, or roof detailing rig, and this pulls together your various composites, which I'll talk about below. So below is listed all the composites that are included in this template. I've created a list of what's included. So this is what's included with the base template. So feel free to start here and build your own, add to it. But this is just kind of a sample of the typical stuff that we have. So there's composites for wall types, a slab, different floor construction types. Again, you can kind of see the finish flooring, ceiling types, roof construction, roof finish, and some exterior soffits. And there's just kind of a guideline to the various labels that are also kind of saved in favorites that we'll go over later. All right, now I think what else to cover there? Oh, so there are sections through each one here. So if you go to, sections, I've all laid them out here, where then you can kind of see what that assembly is for the slabs, floor construction, floor finish, ceiling, roof finish, and exterior soffit. So you can find all of those listed out and also organized in the composites by that same kind of grouping. Now the one thing I want to go back to on the floor plan, so basically, okay, so this Legends sheet, everything's living on the first level, but except for the floor plan. So on the floor plan, there's actually a couple other legend that are floor dependent. So there's a legend for the foundation plan, and then also one for the roof. But other than that, everything else is located on the first level. Okay, I think that's it for composites. Then I also just kind of preloaded in some basic plumbing fixtures. These are just plumbing fixtures with how I'm tagging them if necessary. There's some just additional notes that are just good for reference in case you need them. They're there to pull in. Kind of the same thing with the electrical plan. So electrical, I've shown basically switches and outlets and other devices in the legend. There's the favorites here, so everything you can just kind of grab from here, and you see I've organized them by type, and some miscellaneous objects like the ceiling fan here. Lighting, these are mainly just legends to go on lighting plans or RCPs. Also, there's another legend for ceiling mounted devices, so you can put both of those on your RCP plan or system plan, however you have it organized for your project. So I also just want to mention that I kind of went through and I put in an appliance package. All of this is kind of based on Newport Beach. So these are all the appliances I use for both a condo project in Newport Beach. I've got it separated by front unit and back unit, kitchen appliances, laundry equipment, and different annotations to kind of go over. And then the next area I want to go over is the code plan. So this is the zones, and in here these are zones that are meant to be for measuring larger areas like gross area, building area, open volume area, and the like. So those are mainly more used on code specific plans. And these zones are also built into some schedules to help calculate and total the areas, and I'll go into those schedules in a future video. But again, this one's just an overview. And then below that is the program zones. So this is mainly to be used as room tags. And there's a couple things that I wanted to point out with that. So there's two graphic overrides to kind of both use with the code plan and the program zones. So there is the room types override, and that'll basically just kind of like put a color to help categorize each type of room. You have the legend over here, whether or not it's inhabitable or habitable space. So this is mainly intended for use on like schematic or presentation drawings. And then if you go to the override of code plans, it removes the color. Still shows if space is habitable or not, and it also highlights any 1 hour composites or construction items in red. And this is all keyed into different properties that I've set up for the template, but I'll go into the properties and classifications in a different video. And then just kind of the final thing, I don't really have it set up yet. Let me get these all the way back, all visible. What else? Show all elements. Yeah, it's just kind of like, I'll probably populate this stuff in like coming versions depending on how much mechanical information we use. But it's just kind of a list of like, if you do have to put a mechanical plan together, just kind of what the standard colors are for different, duct types and different line water pipe colors. So that's just there for reference along with keynotes. So let's just go back to the starting view. So yeah, to conclude, that's just a basic overview of all the information and kind of roughly how it's organized in this template. And we'll go into more detail on some of these features And I believe the next lesson I'm going to present is on a deeper dive into the master layouts.